I'm going to give you a presentation on affordable acoustics. So, first things first, I'll go into more detail later, but materials, affordable materials, I'm going to start with egg boxes because they're free. You can get them from any cafe that sells eggs or corner shops. They're often just recycled or thrown away, so they're free waste products. The same goes for carpet. It's meant lots of companies pay to get rid of it as waste, so again it's readily available for free as long as you can contact carpet companies or household clearances. Drapes, not quite as readily available for free, but they are really, really cheap from charity shops anywhere. And furniture, again not quite as cheap, but very readily available and very effective. So, like I said, I'll go into more detail. Egg boxes, lots of people consider that they're not actually good acoustic treatment. However, there has been research put into it, and these are their absorption coefficient figures, the spines figures for paper egg cartons. So if you compare them to acoustic foam, which costs per unit, you can see it's not quite as a balanced absorption, but it is effective, and if it's free, then obviously that's a good thing if you don't have any budget. So here is the average reverb time in a bedroom, my bedroom. So this is the sort of space we'd all be working in and trying to counter for. So you can see the hertz frequency along the bottom and the reverb time on the left. It's for a 3 metre by 5 metre by 7 metre room. And drapes, what I mentioned earlier as being almost free, very cheap from charity shops, have almost flattened the reverb time straight away, which is pretty good for not much money. Next up, we've got carpet, also free, not quite as flat, but still just as effective, slightly more effective in the high frequencies. And the mythical egg boxes have also done really well, slightly less good in the low end, but with bass catchers that can be dealt with later on. And there's my nice graph which shows them all in comparison, so you can see which one would be more suited to your room. It figured out with this one that egg boxes, their absorption curve perfectly balanced the reverb time in this room. So obviously, depending on different rooms, the different materials might be better suited for it. But this example, which was a small room with concrete walls and wooden flooring, egg boxes and drapes came out on top. Diffusers, often possibly thought of as just for professional or top-end studios. They look really nice and look like an awful lot of effort and care has gone into them. However, they can be easily created at home. So this is the plan, to build a diffuser which affects 1500 Hertz and above that. 1 inch times 38 bits, 2 inch times 38 bits, 3 inch times 40 bits, 4 inch times 15. So it's quite easy figures basically. 2 by 2 bits of plywood is what was recommended on the guide I looked up. So again, a common bit of wood which is easy to come by, and those measurements are quite simple, so it's not very hard. If you double all of these figures here, you can target as low as 800 Hertz. So it would be a bigger unit once you build it, but again, depending on what frequencies you're targeting, it would be good. So that's what it would look like if you followed the code from that grid, and you can see it there. It looks pretty nice already, but if you varnished it and put loads of them together, then they look pretty professional, I think. Going back to affordable, I know wood reclaim place in Bristol. I'm sure there's a lot of other ones over the country where you can get offcuts of wood from carpenters' building sites for absolutely free. And because 2x2 is such a cheap, a common bit of wood used, then it's easily come by, so you don't have to pay very much for it. If you want to go more in depth, this is a plan I found online from archive.org, and you can actually input the specific frequencies you're targeting and it will diffuse them. So the last one was 2x2 bits of wood which are readily available. However, if you did have a small budget and you could specifically get the wood chopped for the diffuser, you could target specific frequencies, which would give you a lot more control in getting a flat frequency response in the room. Bass traps. There are lots of information and tutorials on bass traps online. Seems that YouTube has got people from all over the world who want to have their video of them making a bass trap. But it comes down to two main different types. A porous absorber, which is less specific than the other type. It will just target low-end frequencies. Whereas if you use the resonant bass trap, you can target specific frequencies. So if you're staying in the same studio for a number of years, it would be worth your while buying some plywood and making the resonant one, because it would target those specific frequencies. Whereas if you're likely to move around, the porous absorber would be used in a lot of spaces, and it will just keep those low ends under control. The measurements you can see at the bottom target 150 Hertz if you use that dimension plywood, 1/4 for 110 Hertz, and 3/8 of an inch for 87 Hertz. You can get really into the nitty gritty for that and target the specific frequencies, but again, you're going to have to get the wood chopped specifically for it. So going up in budget slightly from the other options. Okay, and if you're not already satisfied, the other option I've looked up is balancing the actual room itself to the EQ on the master. So if you put your absorption in, you put your diffusers in, and then you can get Room EQ Wizard. It's a free plugin available on the internet. It will analyse the frequency response of your room and then enable you to tailor an EQ to flatten that out completely. So the way it works is, first of all, you'll calibrate your sound card, then you'll calibrate a microphone and your monitors to it. So you'll put a microphone in the middle of the room, play a full sine wave sweep into the room, and the information that the mic picks up will be inputted into this program, which has a massive range of graphs and analyticals it can do to figure out which frequencies for you to target. So to use this, you will need an omnidirectional microphone. So probably the most expensive option so far, even though the software is cheap, if you can get hold of an omnidirectional microphone, this can get a nearly perfectly flat frequency response by the end of it. Ideally, you'd want to have done all the other steps first to get it as close to flat as you can get it before you actually have to change the EQ on the music that's being sent through it. There's a lot of talk about it, how you should just get used to what differences your speakers or your room has and recognise them. However, this technique is used in live music venues and rehearsal spaces a lot, because in those specific places people do just want to have a flat response. So it does have its uses, and the software is free. So these are all things that you can do at home. And that's my presentation.